Rev up your engines!
Here we have an angry viewer. DJ Burns 1952. I'm stupid, he says? I must call you out on your arrogance. Calling people stupid infers that I am stupid. I'm sick of this. You think you're smart. You may know something about cars, but you insult me by telling them they're stupid. Well, you don't understand me at all. I'm not calling anyone stupid. I am saying it is a stupid decision to buy this particular car. And I'm nice to everybody. I don't say, oh, you're stupid, you're a moron, you know? I say you could make a bad choice. I will call cars stupid. I will call engineering stupid. I will call car companies stupid for some of the things they do, but I don't call individual people stupid. People are getting carried away with this PC stuff. It's absolute insanity. The problem is people get personally involved and they think, you know, they take everything personally. I'm just analyzing cars, telling you what's right and what's wrong. And if something is a stupid design, hey, I'm going to tell you it's a stupid design. Perhaps you said you got a master's degree in mechanical engineering. Perhaps you designed something that was stupid and I called it out and you got mad. I just call it as it is. You might have made a stupid mistake or something like that. So here's a really stupid design. Yes. You can have a bad decision. Yes. And I'm trying to keep people from making bad decisions because believe you me, if you buy some of the cars that I know are junkers and you spend a fortune on it and then it falls apart in 4 or 5 years, that is a stupid decision to have bought that car. Definitely. But I'm not calling the person stupid. I'm just saying don't make a stupid decision and buy one of these things. I'm just telling the truth about cars, you know. You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. A lot of people can't handle the truth, especially if they're in a situation that's involved in actually selling or building a particular car where that's how they make a living, and they're mad at me because I say it's a bad product. Well, if it's a bad product, I don't care. I'm going to tell people it's a bad product. I'm not going to stop either. Now, here's a lesson to be learned. I just got an email from one of you viewers. Scotty, watch your video from 2019 about saving on transmission repairs. Mine was shifting funny, and I thought I needed to do transmission, but you said sometimes the transmissions aren't grounded right. So my battery was almost dead, and the ground was corroded. I fixed it, and it fixed my transmission. Thanks. Yeah, there's always lessons to be learned. It's not always the worst scenario. Automatic transmissions these days, realize they're computer driven. They're very electronic based. If you do not have a good ground on that transmission, doesn't get the right amount of electricity, it won't shift right. A simple way to test it is you can just get a jumper cable, put it on a negative battery terminal, put the other end of the jumper cable on the transmission to ground it, negative to negative. If it starts shifting good, heck, you can just run a new ground. You know, there's plenty of bolts on the transmission. You can put a ground wire and then bolt that to the negative terminal of the battery. Look at that. You know, you can fix things very simply sometimes. You never know. It's not always worst case scenario. From my older videos, you can learn from the old ones. You don't have to just watch the new ones. 29 says, my dash lights flickered for a while. Now the car won't start. I tested the battery and it showed 12.5 volts, so it's okay. When I turn the key, I can turn on the headlights and the radio. When you get your dashboard lights flickering, you got a problem with power. First thing to do, always start basic. Take off both battery terminals. Clean the terminals on the battery. Clean the inside of the cables. They make a little tool, costs $2 at an auto parts store, wire brush, and then you clean them all. Tighten it up. Could be as simple as you got a loose connection. Make sure all the battery parts are connected in. Just because you got 12.5 volts, that doesn't mean diddly squat for starting a car. There's voltage and there's amps. You can have a car that's got 12.5 volts. Maybe it's a 600 amp cold cranking battery. If it's only got like 100 cold cranks left, might not start the car. It'll turn everything else on. I would say if there's no loose or corroded connectors, have your battery load tested. It could be as simple as you need a new battery. That's often what happens. But a lot of times it's just a loose or corroded battery terminal, so you want to check that too. Dandelion says, I'm looking for an affordable car for a Canadian college student. Well, I went to school in Toronto. I had a $550 Opel I drove around. I'm looking for good advice. I'd get my first car in Canada. I'm looking for a decent car and I have 10,000 Canadian dollars. A Celica 01 to 03, Subaru BRZ, Nissan 350Z, or a Lexus IS 350. Well, I know how things cost in Canada. You're going to have a hard time finding one in that price range, but nix the Celica because that's the one that has the Yamaha designed engine, so scratch that off. The Subaru BRZ, usually guys rag the heck out of them. The Nissan 350Z, if you want a little sports car and you can find a good one that isn't worn worn out. I'd go for the Lexus IS 350, hands down, if you can find one for 10,000 Canadian or less. Good luck finding one, but if you do, that would be the best out of them all. They can run an awful long time. They're fun cars to drive. They're very comfortable, but you still got enough zip to them. That's what I'd go for if you can find one in that price range in Canada. Everything costs more there. Even back when I was there in 1976, everything cost more then. Back in those days, Canadians used to go to the American side. They'd wear their old clothes. They'd buy new clothes in the United States, throw the old clothes in the Goodwill bin next to the store and come back with new clothes because it was so much cheaper in the United States. So you guys have to pay too much for your stuff there. Although I do have to say, college was cheap in those days. It was only $500 a year tuition when I went there. And they were nice. Even though I was an international student, they still only charged me the $500 a year tuition. So thanks a lot. Yeah. Yearlet says, my 2014 Honda Pilot horn honks when I boosted. It sat for 4 days. The battery was dead. When I boosted, the horn honked and honked. It started, but the horn kept honking. Help me. What can I do? The alarm system is turning itself on. That's why the stupid thing is honking. Any kind of problem that's draining your battery will make the alarm keep going off. You left it for 4 days, okay? 4 days isn't that long for a battery. I'm assuming you left something like the headlights or a dome light on. That'll drain the battery, and then it still has that drain. So the alarm thinks someone's trying to steal the car. A lot of the alarms like, okay, you got your car locked up, everything's turned off, right? And your alarm's on. If somebody turned a dome light on or a parking light, that'll make the horn start honking and turn the alarm on. So check all that, because you got to figure out why your battery went dead. Okay, and I scrolled through this question, and the guy says, okay, I found it. My back dome light was on. Okay, well, see? I told you. And that's going to drain everything, and it'll make the alarm go bananas. Plus, if your battery was totally dead, you can't account for anything until you have the battery totally charged up. Once the battery's low, alarms are going to go all the time. Recharge the battery now. When you find out it doesn't come back, that's because the dome light was on and the battery was totally flat. Once they're flat, they get whack. And realize, if you got a little battery charger, like a 2-amp battery charger, like people buy the cheaper ones, it's going to take 20 hours to get a decent enough charge with that little one. I use a 20-amp charger. It'll charge it up in 2-3 hours. But with one of those little 2 ones, it takes a long time to recharge them fully. Joseph brought me a Toyota Prius from St. Louis. Toyota dealer said it was going to cost between $5,000 and $8,000 to fix it. It was misfiring on cylinder number 3. So I analyzed it all for him, warned him about the problem of buying a used Prius, which he did. Saw the video after he'd bought the car, so it's too late then. Well, this thing was losing coolant and misfiring on number 3. So I analyzed it all and found out that, hey, yeah, it needs head gaskets blowing on number 3. And then I looked it up. That is an Atkinson cycle engine. No one in town here will work on it outside of the dealer, and they wanted $5,500 to put a head gasket in the engine. When nobody's going to work on the engine, they can charge whatever they want. Normally, you can get a head gasket done in a lot of places for $400 or $500. Not on that engine, right? I said, well, let's go to AutoZone. So I went to AutoZone, got a bottle of Barr's head gasket leak. Now, it wasn't the cheap stuff. It was the bottle. It was $32. He drove from St. Louis to Clarksville, Tennessee here. It used 2 quarts of coolant on that trip. He just emailed and said, thanks a lot, Scotty. You saved me thousands. He made it back to St. Louis. You know how much coolant it lost? None. Does it misfire anymore? No. It stopped the leak. They wanted $500 to $7,500 to fix his engine. It was fixed with a $32 bottle. You never know what you're going to get. I've been using that Barr's head gasket leak stuff for years. The advantage of it is, look at the bottle. And it says, can use with all coolants, pink, green, orange, whatever. A lot of the sealers, you can only use them with water. This, you could actually mix it with the coolant, and it worked perfectly fine. Mo says, Scotty, I want to buy a Mitsubishi Pajero 2021. They still sell it where I live. Is it a good car? I'm in Saudi Arabia. They're decent cars. You know, they don't sell them in the United States. They're not the greatest cars in the world. But in that price point, I got friends out in other parts of the world. They buy them, and they like them, you know. They can last easily over 100,000 miles without having too many problems or anything. And to really take care of them, they can last longer. I personally would buy a Toyota or a Honda and get more money, more bang for my buck, but they're okay transportation vehicles, and I'm assuming they probably cost more since you don't make any cars in Saudi Arabia. Everything has to be imported in. I'm sure that that's probably a price point car. You don't want to pay as much as the Toyota or Honda costs, and if that's the case, go ahead and get the Mitsubishi. Barber says, how fitting. You're so clean-shaven, I'm surprised you don't notice you have a long hair coming out of your left earlobe. Please cut it off, thanks. Okay. Well, I did last night, as a matter of fact. Yes, the problem is I'm getting old and I can't see that well close. So, I look in the mirror, I kind of turn my head sideways and stuff. I'm getting a haircut today anyway. She would have done that when I'm getting my hair cut. Hey, I'm old, you know, give me a little slack here. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.